Welcome to Video Rental, your retro movie hub. Join us as we rewind through the iconic films of the 70s, 80s, and 90s gems. From cult classics to blockbuster hits and even some infamous flops. We're covering it all. So grab some popcorn, get cozy, and let's dive into the wonderful world of retro cinema together. On today's episode, we're going to be covering Terminator 1984.
I'll be back.
And we're joined by Derek. How you doing today, Derek?
I'm good.
Good.
Just had a bunch of coffee, so I'm awake.
Anyway, how are you doing, Doug?
Great.
Put on your happy face, Doug.
Happy times. Good times, people. Good times.
Let's discuss. Doug, let's start with you. When was the first time you saw Terminator?
Oh. Jeez.
Well, first, how old were you in 1984?
84?
Yeah.
I was 9.
9. That's a good age.
Good age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Probably didn't see it when you were 9 years old.
I don't think so. I think I saw it on first time I saw it was a TV edit, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Derek, what about you?
I was thinking about this on the drive over. So I saw Terminator 2 way before I saw Terminator 1.
Yeah.
I was born in 1984, Doug. Makes you feel older than dirt. So,
Hey, I was born in 86, so it's okay.
so I had been acquainted with the Terminator franchise through Terminator 2
Yeah.
first. And I want to say I didn't see Terminator 1 until I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had seen bits and pieces of it, like on television, but never really sat down and gave it a thorough watching until college. And my roommate
Yeah.
had it on DVD.
Ooh.
So there was quite a gap
Mm-hmm.
between Terminator 2 and Terminator 1.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, it's kind of a backwards way of doing it, but that's how it happened for me.
Yeah.
Well, at least you got to see the good one after the one that's not so good.
What?
What?
Gauntlet thrown down.
Wow.
I wouldn't say Terminator 1 is bad, but Terminator 2 is definitely superior.
Yes, definitely.
What?
Yeah.
Is it though? What does the critics say about this?
We're going to get to all that.
Oh, okay.
The gauntlet's already been thrown down, people.
You guys literally just mirrored each other. You noticed that, right? You both had your hands on the mic, and you both went back at the same time.
There you go.
Just stay away from it. Honestly, I can't really say when. Derek, I could be like you. I probably saw Terminator 2 first. Mm-hmm. I definitely probably saw Terminator on like TBS or TNT or something because, that was like kind of a hard R that, definitely wouldn't, definitely saw it on TV first.
We were watching Teletubbies when I saw it.
Teletubbies.
I hadn't thought about those in a long time, Doug.
I honestly don't think I've ever seen an episode of Teletubbies.
Oh, was you watching the Wiggles?
I was probably watching, I don't know, Transformers and G.I. Joe.
No, you're not that cool of a child.
Well, clearly, I'm. Yeah. All right, so let's. Doug is really on it this morning. On what?
On the spicy side of the bed today.
Yeah. So I'm going to read the plot. A cyborg assassin from the future attempts to find and kill a young woman who is destined to give birth to a warrior that will lead a resistance to save humankind from extinction.
Thank you, AI.
How would you like?
Thank you, Skynet.
Could you?
No, that's what was.
Could you imagine going into that boardroom and dropping that line?
Yeah. So, speaking of that plot line, I was watching a YouTube video on the creation of the Terminator, and it said that James Cameron, the inspiration for this came from a bad dream, like a nightmare that he had.
Yeah.
Where he saw in his nightmare a metal skeleton rising up out of flames. And that's what inspired him to make this movie.
That's cool.
So
Brought to you by Taco Bell. He probably ate something spicy.
yeah,
when
he
went
got
to
some of that
bed.
fire sauce on there. Tore him up. Taco hell, which then turns into taco smell.
Taco smell. You get that second burn.
Yeah.
All right, Derek, you want to read us some vitals?
Yeah. Movie came out October 26th, 1984. 1984 was a great year.
Good year. Good year.
Yeah. Also, what came out in 1984 was Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
And many other great movies.
So you guys were conceived in '84. So it was a really good year.
There you go.
If you think about everything that happened.
Indeed.
Okay, don't
Clearly, you don't know anything about, what is it, biology? I was born in 86, so that's not how that works for me.
I'll try. You wouldn't burn '84. Shut up.
The movie on IMDb is a 8.1, which to me, I think is slightly lower than what would be expected.
IMDb is just, I feel like that's just like their average score is like a 7.5, like for 90% of their movies. Mm-hmm. So that's high for them, I guess.
I mean, 8.1, and arguably, Terminator is one of the greatest science fiction movies. Mm-hmm. It's up there.
It probably inspired so much.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Tomato meter, though, the critic score is a 90% and the audience score is 89%. So that's pretty rare. You normally don't see that much agreement.
Well, Derek, let me tell you, I was, I'd say last year sometime, I was just looking it up because I was thinking about, us doing the first Terminator eventually. The score was at 100% for both scores at one point.
Oh, really?
Tomato meter. I was shocked because I was looking up. I think it was when we did Terminator 2. Mm-hmm. I was looking up their scores too, and literally the first one was at 100% and 100%, and I was like, Terminator's at 100%. That's insane. You don't see that on Rotten Tomatoes.
The internet agrees with me.
But with anything, it goes down. So.
Now, here's where the disparity comes in. The budget, a paltry $6.4 million, which shows you how much movie executives believed in this crazy plot.
Yeah, I mean, this was
I think they did okay,
film.
though.
This was a guerrilla.
Yeah, I guess technically it was.
Yeah.
And I've watched, again, some of the making of, and I think James Cameron did like what he called guerrilla style filming because they didn't have permits to shoot in a lot of Los Angeles, so they just sort of rolled up and shot real quick on the go and then packed it up and left.
We could tell in the scene we're on where, the Terminator shows up and he walks up on all those punk rocker guys. You could tell like somebody's just sitting there with the camera watching all this happen and they're like, okay, we'll get out of here.
Yeah. Anyway, I got something to say about that scene.
Okay.
But we'll get there. Box office. Ooh, voice just did something crazy. Swallowed a frog. Edit that out.
No edits.
Box office over $78 million. So, man, you talk about making your money back. Mm-hmm. $78 million. And so if this is coming out in 1984 and then Judgment Day comes out in 1991, I believe.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good spread between the first and the second. And you can see why he waited.
Well, I think he always said
he wanted the technology.
The technology was just not there.
Wanted the filmmaking to catch up to where
Well, didn't he use
liquid metal?
When he filmed this one, the ideas he got where he come up with them cameras on gimbals and stuff for film better.
Mm-hmm. $78 million. So, what's 6.4 into 78? I mean, just do a little bit of quick math. They made
$71 million.
They made 12 times more of their money or whatever.
That's like $2 billion movie today.
It's craziness.
Yeah.
Runtime 1 hour and 47 minutes.
And I don't think it feels like it.
No, you spend a little bit of the front end of the movie sort of getting to know Linda Hamilton and getting to know her character, Sarah Connor. Mm-hmm. But then, man, it picks up.
Yeah, definitely.
And you spend pretty much the rest of your movie just running from the Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
So
once the pace starts, it doesn't stop.
yeah, and of course, rated R. It couldn't be anything else.
No. Well, and a lot of people, they'll say this is a sci-fi. I've always considered this a horror sci-fi.
I think it's a blend. It's definitely got slasher film elements in it. Like you could make a parallel between Jason or
I was thinking like Michael Myers.
Michael Myers to Terminator.
Slow.
Yeah. You can definitely see the horror.
I mean,
influence.
Even more than 2, really.
Oh yeah, no, they really
T-1000 with the blades and everything.
I mean, the movie starts out with him punching a guy's heart out.
Yeah.
Right, pretty much the beginning of the movie. So I mean, Sarah's the final girl, so he's hunting her, and
I think
let's not forget how the movie starts with a trash truck driver. Let's not glaze over that.
For those you're as smart out there who don't know,
somebody coming back.
Doug is one of the proud members of the trash truck.
Oh, they can smell him. They can smell him through the camera.
Smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision. The new technology.
Which, in my son's eyes, that's a highly esteemed job because he's...
Oh, kids love the garbage man.
He loves garbage trucks. He is enamored with them. Mm-hmm. Every time Lego releases a new version of the trash truck, he's all over it, man. So, you the man, Doug. At least to a 12-year-old.
Yeah. Bring me out, he pull me right back.
But going back to Terminator in terms of the genre, like, it's hard to pigeonhole this one for one specific thing. Yes, it's science fiction. Mm-hmm. You can definitely make the case it's got horror elements in it. It's got a ton of action.
Yeah.
So it's a lot rolled into one. I think I read somewhere that the term that James Cameron himself used to describe it was tech noir.
Yeah, I think I've heard
which
that.
Which, of course, is the name of the club.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Where she runs to later on in the movie.
She first meets him.
So if you think about film noir, that's like dark, gritty, detective, black and white style. And then he calls this one tech noir, obviously because it's dystopian.
Yeah.
It starts that way. It's dark, but yet with a technology aspect to it with the Terminator and Skynet and all that. So
well, and if you really want to think about it, you could technically the reason, I guess, another reason it's kind of considered a horror movie because you could take out all the science fiction of the movie. Like he could just be a normal killer because he's a killer until the last 20 minutes you actually see him as a metal future skeleton. But you could take all that science fiction out and this would be a 80s horror movie of him hunting Sarah and Kyle down.
It was something I noticed. One of my favorite things about it's the way it's filmed and the way the coloring is and everything. It just really brings me back as a kid how this movie looks.
Yeah,
it's not overly lit. And it's it just looks like an old.
Well, that speaks to the guerrilla style filming that we talked about. I mean, they didn't have time to get it picture perfect. No. If you're filming on the go, you just show up.
They might have used a lot of like 8mm cameras sometimes just to get
what you get
shots.
with the lighting is what you get.
Yeah. And it's awesome though. Yeah. I mean, it's real.
Yeah. It's definitely got that gritty, dirty feeling, especially the beginning, the street scenes where
when you see LA and stuff like that at night, and
it's like you hear a song on a CD and listen to it on a record.
Yeah.
It just
and again, that's something about these old movies is there ain't no green screen going on here.
No,
there may be one or two shots where they use a green screen to get.
I think
stop motion.
Yeah, I think what do they call it? It's like a projection screen. Cameron
rear
used
projection
it throughout
something.
Yeah, throughout the 80s and stuff. He used it like in Aliens. He used a little bit in Terminator 2.
Well, it's the same thing they used it in Star Wars.
Yeah.
What was the name of those things? Those panels they did when they would hand paint them. And then lay them over the film.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't think of the term of it.
I can't remember. But it's cool.
Yeah. A lot of those backgrounds are hand painted.
Yeah.
It's not and
they overlay the different pieces of film together.
Yeah.
So, the movie, of course, spawned a franchise. And of course, we've already done a review of T2. If you haven't listened to that, we highly encourage you to go and check that out on the channel. It's one of our probably longest ones. There's just so much to say about that movie. So you've got, of course, T1, T2, T3.
I think T3, of course, it's his. I think T3 is his last. I'm not saying it's good, but it's his last good role as the Terminator, because the rest of them are kind of just.
Yeah. Well, I love Terminator Salvation.
Yeah, no, well, because he's not
Terminator-
even in
Yeah, I know.
Salvation, so I think
He has a cameo, but it's not really him. It's a deep
Well, that was
fake.
when he was when he governor.
I
when
think,
all that was
I
going
think
on?
that's why that he wasn't in it.
I love Terminator Salvation.
Yeah,
I thought it was
yeah.
great. And then, of course, you've got Terminator
Genesis. Ugh,
which was
that is
pretty bad.
rough. Like they just tried to mess with the whole time even more than this franchise messes
And then
with.
Dark Fate.
Dark
Fate. I think Dark Fate is underrated.
Yeah, I just recently rewatched that one. It was all right,
Yeah.
but anytime you start doing something with time travel,
I think right now, pretty much the franchise is dead.
Yeah. I think Cameron has the rights back on it, but I think he's talked about wanting to do another one,
Yeah.
but there's nothing.
I've heard him express interest in doing something with it. He's so tied up with doing Avatar right now that
he's
Well, and the thing is though, he was talking about if the latest Avatar, was it Fire and whatever it is,
who knows?
if it does well, then he'll continue doing what 4 and 5. But it did well, but at the same time, in today's standards, it didn't do that great in theaters.
Yeah.
So he got his money back plus $100 million or something. So it's just
Poor guy. I don't know how if he can eat McDonald's anymore.
Well, it's just like a lot of movies today are like pretty much almost breaking even or just making a little bit over, and that's really sad today. I mean, just from this, it costs 6.4,
I was
and
gonna say, look what you can do if it's quality.
they're spending way too much money on movies today,
Right.
for no reason, and a lot of them are not good. But anyways, Derek, you're good. Go ahead.
So, pretty much the franchise is dead, with the exception of maybe Terminator appearing in a video game. I know he's in like Mortal Kombat, like one of the reboots. But also we saw a TV show, the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
It wasn't bad. It was a Fox
think it was on
show.
Fox, right?
Yeah, and
I didn't see it.
It was the only reason it was kind of bad because of Fox. It was this was before TV became like really good, and it tried. It went in a little bit different direction, but it followed. It was supposed to take place after 2, so it went from there because they hadn't made 3 yet.
Right.
But it wasn't bad.
Haven't seen it.
I ain't even-
Is it on streaming? I wonder.
It is, but you have to like buy the whole season.
okay.
So I was like, never mind.
And then there was an anime, Terminator Zero. I've never watched a single minute of it.
Didn't you watch it?
I did watch it. It's definitely dark. It's a dark
Yeah.
darker world, and it's not Arnold, but it's in the future. It's just based around in the future. And it starts off with a different character playing a Terminator after people. So, I mean, if you like anime, it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And it also spawned 20 different video games, ranging from arcades, NES, Super Nintendo, Sega, Genesis, PlayStation, and Xbox. I definitely remember the T2 shooter.
That game.
That game.
The shooter cabinet. Remember that?
Yeah.
They're still out there.
Yeah, that was an iconic game.
Well, you remember the NES one, right? Like the T2 NES one. It was so amazing because it was, of course, side scrolling. I always remember you'd go into the bar and you'd have to fight in the bar and stuff. It was so, and then eventually you'd get on the motorcycle and
Ride off.
awesome. Yeah.
So they've just released, like, I want to say last fall.
Did you get it?
I haven't got it yet.
I hadn't.
T2 Dark Fate or No Fate.
Yeah.
It's an old school side-scrolling shooter.
It looked great.
Neat.
It's like a love letter to anybody who grew up in the 16-bit era.
Yeah.
It's intentionally made to look like an old Super Nintendo. Or
It looks
Sega
great.
Genesis game.
Oh, nice.
I got to get it.
I ain't seen that.
I know it's on Switch, and I'm pretty sure it's on PlayStation.
Yeah, I think it's on
Xbox.
everything. Yep.
Oh, they've already released it?
Yeah, It's a download. It's a digital download.
Yeah, just a few months ago, I think, wasn't it?
It's been reviewed well, but basically, you play through T2, the movie.
Yeah.
And there are some parts of the game where you're playing as the Terminator, some parts where you're playing as John Connor, some where you're playing as Sarah.
Yeah, I know there's where she's trying to escape
the asylum.
It's pretty awesome looking.
So it's based around in the T2
Yeah. But still, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Contra.
style.
Yeah.
Side-scrolling
They
shooter.
definitely expanded on it compared to the original T2 NES one.
And I saw something. Wasn't they saying Contra was originally loosely based on Arnold's character?
Yeah,
That's a
so
possibility, yeah.
originally Contra, I think Contra came out in like 1986 or 88, around in there.
Well, I mean, if you look at the cover, isn't the cover? It had,
He
it's
looks
It's
like
supposed to be
an Arnold guy.
and Stallone.
Stallone, yeah.
Because, of course, the era of that time
Oh,
was
yeah.
Rambo and Commando, Terminator, and all
Yeah.
that. So
Predator.
and of course those two during the 80s are dueling for
Yeah.
number one at the action box office.
Can you imagine though, if in the late '80s before he did Terminator 2, if he would have actually teamed up with a non-coked out Stallone, let Stallone get cleaned up, and then
That's a
teamed up,
decade too early for that.
and then teamed up with like Van Damme and Bruce
Dolph
Willis or
Lundgren.
something in the late '90s. Can you imagine how epic a movie?
Oh, yeah.
I was talking to Doug about. I would have loved to seen Arnold fighting aliens like the Xenomorphs. I would have loved to seen him like team up with Sigourney Weaver to fight.
Could you imagine the opening of that?
Well, we do have AI coming along,
Yeah.
so maybe
Somebody
wildest
do it.
dreams can come true.
I think that's one thing that's always sucked, that Arnold never got. He got one chance to fight an alien, the Predator, but then never fought another alien again, which I would have loved to seen that.
Hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
The tagline of the movie: "In the year of darkness, 2029." Which, that's 3 years away.
3
guys.
years away. Wow.
The rulers of this planet devised the ultimate plan. They would reshape the future by changing the past. The plan required something that felt no pity, no pain, no fear, something unstoppable. They created, dun dun dun, the Terminator.
You guys remember the poster too, right? With Arnold with his gun.
With the gun, with the laser sight.
I think that's one of the most epic movie posters ever.
I wonder
Yeah,
how
it's
long
great.
it took him to pick out those glasses, or was that just a random thing that happened in the movie?
I don't know.
Because it's become an ongoing thing. If you noticed, every time he does come back, he finds a pair of those glasses.
Let's talk about the cast. You ready? Of course, there's some perfect casting done here in this movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger in his ultimate role. Of course, you know Arnie from other action hits, Conan the Barbarian. We've talked about Predator on this podcast. Twins in a more comedic role. Total Recall.
Twins
That would
is
be
great.
That would be a great one for us to do. Total Recall. About 1990, I think, is when that came out. True Lies, and many, many more action movies. So, at the time that Arnold made this movie, he was 37 years old.
Yeah.
And that first establishing shot of the movie where he comes back, dude is in tip-top shape.
Oh,
To be
yeah.
37 years old,
37 years
I don't know how many years he's removed from when he made
Actual
Pump in the Iron, or the what was the movie about his?
70-something.
Yeah, it was in the late
I don't
'70s.
know
it
how
was
many
Pumping
years he
Iron.
was removed from
Well,
professional
he did,
weightlifting.
He did Conan
Or bodybuilding?
before this. He did Conan right before Terminator.
Yeah, Conan
Yeah.
was
So
late
he was in
70s.
tip-top shape in
Yeah,
Conan.
but he was not in the Mr. Olympia competitions at
No.
this time. But dude is jacked.
Yeah.
And he plays this role perfectly. You can't imagine anybody else in this role. Just he fits the cyborg
Yeah.
aspect of being. You can see him scanning the horizon. No emotion.
Yeah.
Never
He
smiling.
put a lot of thought into how to play that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an iconic role that he'll never be able to escape, and
Well, and I think
nobody
he
will ever
embraces
be
it.
able to fill it.
He embraces it.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of interviews with him, and I feel like of all the action stars of the '80s, he's talked about he was definitely full of himself back in the '80s, trying to compete with everybody. But I think at the same time, he is a very humble person because if you look at him, he is a self-made man.
Yeah. By the way, if you haven't watched the documentary on Netflix
Oh, it's great.
about Arnold,
I
think it's a 2 or 3 parter. Go watch it. It is awesome, and it explains the different phases of his life, but especially that first episode that talks about his upbringing.
Yeah.
The dude was, man, he grew up in a terrible home. Like, his dad was just a taskmaster. But anyway, go check that out. It really explains a lot of where his work ethic came from.
Yeah.
You got to have mad respect for him because, like you said, he is self-made in that he put bodybuilding on the map.
Yeah.
And then did something unthinkable, like going from that into acting.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody had ever done anything like that before.
No, that's like a standard thing now. All these big guys going to acting, and
you wouldn't think of him like Arnold. He went to college, and he got into real estate, and he made his money before he got famous in movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And he was just
he's very smart,
very intelligent.
Yeah, definitely.
So you don't think that from the all we think about is the characters he plays, but the real person's completely different.
Yeah, but you talk about somebody being willing to grind.
Oh,
just work, just flat out outwork other people.
Yeah,
that was one thing watching that documentary that I really came to respect about him. Like, yeah, I mean, you can hate on him for being the governor or whatever, and or other things, but man, dude put in the work. Like, you've got to respect that about him.
definitely.
I thought it was so funny that the first guy that really started training him he won the first Mr. Olympia, he looked at him and said, "You're fat." And I'm like,
I wish I could be his fat.
I know. He's like, "I was fat." And I was like looking at him like, dude, the dude's all
I want a 6-pack, not a keg. So
you think about it though, 37 years old coming in to your most defining role. I mean, even though he was in Running Man and he was in Conan before this, I guess.
No, Running Man was after.
Running Man was after.
Yeah, this was his big hit. I mean, Conan was good, like it did good, but this is where it really showed him to be, no pun intended, a future star. Right?
You don't think about many people gaining that level of stardom at 37, though.
Yeah.
You're getting ready to head into midlife crisis.
Yeah.
And he was a leading man in movies for the next 40 years.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome when you think about it. Of course, also in the cast is Michael Biehn, and he plays the role of Kyle Reese. He's also in Aliens, The Abyss, Tombstone, and The Rock. So he's definitely an action hero staple. A lot of great stuff there on the resume. Linda Hamilton in the role of Sarah Connor. She was also starred in Children of the Corn. Of course, we know her in T2, Beauty and the Beast TV show, and Dante's Peak. That's a terrible action disaster movie.
It's
got Pierce Brosnan in it. It's about a volcano that explodes in the Pacific Northwest.
25 years probably since I've seen that.
Wow. Paul Winfred is also in the movie. He was in Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan.
He plays the main detective, the black guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Presumed Innocent, Cliffhanger, Dennis the Menace, and Mars Attacks. The movie also has Lance Henriksen. Is he Dr. Silverman? Do you know?
No, he plays the other detective.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. He was a star in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Piranha 2, which James Cameron had a directorial role in. I think he got fired from that movie. I remember Piranhas. I don't remember Piranha 2 very well.
I always remember the rental case.
Yeah.
You know, you seen it was like you could just see the fish's eye through the bloody water.
Well, there's a lot of connection between Cameron and Lance with Piranha 2 and other people in this movie. Because, like, I think if you keep reading there, Derek, Lance was in several of James Cameron's movies.
Pumpkinhead, Lance Henriksen was in that. Don't remember that movie. Hard Target, Quick and the Dead, the Millennium TV show, AVP, Alien vs. Predator, and as Nathan mentioned, 300 credits, voiceovers, writer, acting, cameos, many of those.
That
as with
that Millennium TV show, I remember it. He almost like was psychic a little bit, but it was in the same universe as X-Files. They had several. It was on Fox. This show ran for like 4 seasons back in the 90s, but he was always investigating weird things and stuff like that.
Oh, I
They
never
had
saw that.
different, probably 4 or 5 crossover episodes with the X-Files and stuff. It was a pretty good show for back in this day.
Also in this cast, we have Dick Miller, Bill Paxton. He's one of the thugs at the very beginning, who pulls out the knife, and Brian Thompson. So, some great casting there, and a lot of action stars getting their start right here on T1. Yep. Screenplay, James Cameron and Gail Ann Hurd, which I didn't know, but I learned that they were married.
Yeah.
Before James Cameron hooked up with Linda Hamilton, and then they got married.
And she went on to, like...
She married James Cameron? I didn't know that.
Linda Hamilton?
Yeah, for a minute. Yeah, for a minute.
I
didn't last very long.
No.
I didn't know she was a twin either until recently.
No. Derek, Gail Ann Hurd, her career just kept on going after you'll read some of her stuff here in a minute.
Nice. So, as I mentioned earlier, James Cameron said he got the idea for this after a nightmare of that metal skeleton. And then I've seen drawings that he actually made of the image of the Terminator in his dream. It's pretty close to what is on screen. It's pretty amazing. So
reminds me of in like the Freddy movies. Why am I drawing a blank on the Wes Craven?
Yeah,
he came up with the idea about reading about a dream, but then he had his own dream about a killer.
Didn't Stephen King dream a lot of his ideas too?
Probably, or Coke, whatever.
So that's pretty amazing to take a nightmare and then write a story that fulfills the vision that you had. So anyway, pretty interesting way to make a movie. Movie was produced by John Daly. Gail Ann Hurd also worked on Aliens, The Abyss, Tremors, T2, Dante's Peak, Armageddon, Don't Want to Close My Eyes, T3, Hulk. That would be
the Ang Lee one.
one.
Yeah, the one that a lot of y'all want to forget about.
Yeah, the one where he grew like 30 feet, and it was so bad.
Where the big giant poodle grabbed his junk.
Yeah.
Is that also the one with Fight Club, main character in Fight Club? Not Brad Pitt, but he plays
Ed Norton.
Ed Norton.
Norton. That was
Ed Norton.
I liked
Hulk.
Ed Norton Hulk.
No, that was the Incredible Hulk.
Okay. Got
Yeah, that's the sequel, I guess you could say.
Music by Brad Fiedel. Let's talk about that score. It almost reminds me of The Thing, the score for The Thing. It's totally synthesized.
Yeah.
And it's very, how should I say, maybe sparse. But it sort of evokes that hollowness of that technology feel.
Yeah.
You know, with it being
heartless,
feeling,
soulless kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Like you feel like maybe he did this on a MIDI Casio keyboard or a Moog or something. You know.
Well, and then he amped it up even more for T2. He got like an orchestra.
Dun, dun,
and all
dun,
that
dun,
stuff. Yeah,
dun.
it's
dun,
really
dun,
Get
amped
that.
up.
I like the way they did the echo of it.
Yeah.
But in this one, I think it's a little bit different than in T2.
Yeah. Well, because like you said, this was like they used like a synthesizer or whatever he used, but then in 2, it was like a full-on orchestra, and
It's 84. He might have been playing a guitar.
Or keytar. I mean, maybe so.
So this is one of those occasions where, the music less is more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very iconic sound. I think it fits perfectly the tone of the movie, but it stays with you. So pretty cool. They filmed this movie all over Los Angeles, California. Again, we talked about the guerrilla style, where they just pulled up on the street corner, shot a little bit before the movie police came to
How
slap
cool
the
would it
cuffs
have
on.
been to walk up on them just randomly filming a scene?
Well, I'm pretty sure that probably happens a lot in LA.
Oh, yeah. Well, you notice it's all at night. It's probably like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I know when we went there a few years ago, we literally got stopped in traffic because they had to stop traffic to let them film a scene real quick. We were right in downtown LA. And then we sat there for about 10 minutes. They filmed their scene, and then they opened traffic back up and let us go through.
Wow.
Was you like trying to see what movie it was?
Yeah, I couldn't really tell. It's probably a TV show. Couldn't really tell what it was.
The movie was produced by Hemdale Film Corporation, Pacific Western Productions, and Orion Pictures. And it's definitely got that indie film feel. It's not really polished, even though you could argue that for the time the special effects were sort of ahead of the time.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's got that grittiness. It's not super polished. And
Which I think helps the effects.
It does.
Yes.
Well, and you can't, and like, if you want to really think about in 84, how many like big budget movies were out already by the time 84 came out. So this is definitely like, I'm not going to say it's a B movie, but it has that B movie style to it because it's just like they had no money, next to no money to do anything. So they, like you said, they did what they could.
well, with a budget of $6.4 million.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what they paid Arnie to be in this movie, but I'd say if you look at what he made on this first Terminator compared to what he was
T2,
making
oh.
later on in his career,
Yeah.
he was making peanuts.
Yeah.
And of course, the movie is directed by James Cameron, and we know him very well. He also was a part of Rambo: First Blood Part 2.
Yep.
Love Rambo.
Amped it up a little bit there.
The Abyss, which is one of the first uses of CGI.
That's what inspired.
That's what inspired the
T2.
liquid.
T2
Yeah.
comes later in 1991. He also directed True Lies, Titanic. Doug, how many times did you go see Titanic in the
Dude.
theater?
Let me tell you.
I saw it once. That was enough.
You kind of already know what happens at the end of the movie, but
I think the better question is, Doug, how many times do you watch it a year? Or how many times do you and Samantha watch?
let me put it this way. I had this movie on the double pack VHS.
Yeah.
And that was definitely one of Samantha's favorite movies. She loved it. She still does.
Yeah.
So, you know.
You think old Rose could have scooted over on that piece of
There was
wreckage
definitely
so
room
Jack
for
get on
for
there.
him
I
to
mean,
get on
come
there.
on. He didn't have to die.
No, she was done with him. She's like, I got the diamond in my pocket. Move along.
And then, of course, of late fame, James Cameron is the director of the Avatar series. I saw the first Avatar in the theater when it came out, like way back in 08, 09, whenever that was.
Yeah, I did too.
It was not my cup of tea. I really did not think it was that special, and I haven't seen anything since. I
Well,
haven't seen any other sequels.
I actually just watched the first one like a week ago or something, and I actually really enjoy the first one. I mean, I'm not, I enjoy it. The sequels, I don't. I watched the second one. I haven't seen the third one yet, but the second one, I was bored out of my mind, and I'm pretty sure it was over 3 hours long. And I was just like, I was bored through the whole movie.
He wanted the special effects to carry it.
I mean, the second one definitely looks better than the first one because
It's
so
a
much
political
time.
commentary. All of them are.
But I mean, I enjoy the first one. I'm not gonna throw it out there saying it's better than any other movie, but I enjoyed it.
You like Twilight better than
Twilight? What?
it's his favorite movie.
Moving
you just
on,
said-
moving on.
is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
That is what you do to this room, Doug. All right, Derek, you want to read us some trivia?
Here's some trivia. Arnold worked with guns every day for a month to prepare for his role as the Terminator. The first 2 weeks of filming, he practiced weapons, stripping and reassembly, blindfolding. He was blindfolded through all this until the motions were automatic, like a machine, of course. And then he spent hours at the shooting range and practiced with different weapons without blinking. And that was important to fulfill the role of the cyborg. Mm-hmm. He also learned to be ambidextrous, meaning he practiced different moves 50 times so he could go right hand, left hand.
Yeah.
Wound up garnering a compliment in Soldier of Fortune magazine for his realistic handling of the guns on camera.
And again, he's putting the work in.
Putting the work
I
in.
mean,
James Cameron got the idea of giving Arnold even fewer lines in the film than his earlier film, Conan the Barbarian, in which Arnold only had 24 lines. In this film, Arnold has only 14 lines and 21 minutes of screen time. And I know that they fought, him and James Cameron and Arnold fought over a couple of the lines.
yeah. Well, it was the I'll be back.
Yeah.
Arnold did not feel like it sounded right. He thought it should be I will be back.
Yeah.
And James Cameron pretty much says, who writes this story? I'm the writer. You're the actor.
Yeah. I don't tell you how to direct. And
I don't tell you how to act. Don't tell me how to direct.
yeah. Something like that.
Well, I mean, the fact that everybody knows how thick Arnold's accent is,
Yeah.
so it wouldn't have been right if he'd just been trying to.
That would have not become an iconic. And Arnold's always said he had no idea that I'll
I'll be back.
Use your words. Use your words.
I'll be back would become an iconic line. I mean, of all the lines in the movie, you just never would have thought that. So I think if he would have said I will be back, it probably would have went nowhere.
So I think it actually works to the advantage of the movie that Arnold speaks less because you get more of that cyborgness coming through. And then everybody knows in a good horror movie, the less is more, especially with seeing the main monster.
Yeah.
Your imagination does a lot more of that. But
Jaws proved that.
yeah. And then the last piece of trivia. James Cameron's original story idea was much more elaborate and involved Skynet sending 2 Terminators back in time. The first one was a cyborg that would be defeated by a human, also sent back in time, and the Resistance actually sent 2 men, but one was to die during the time travel. A second Terminator, one consisting of liquid metal, would be able to shapeshift and would be sent by Skynet in response, and reluctantly, as it is so experimental that it may alter the past beyond Skynet's intentions. Cameron briefly considered claymation in dark shots to portray the shapeshifter, but he soon realized that the concept was too ambitious for what he could achieve with the contemporary techniques. Of course, we know that's why he waited to do T2. He also knew his reputation at the time wasn't big enough to tell a story of such scope to a studio, so he used only the first half of it. When a completely computer-generated special effect proved to be a success in Cameron's The Abyss, he revived the idea of liquid metal, liquid Terminator for T2. Well played, James.
Isn't that
Cameron.
crazy, though? He was going to have all this in the first movie.
Yeah, too much.
Yeah.
It's like, George Lucas filming Star Wars, he realizes, my story is way too big.
Yeah.
And
For 88 minutes.
yeah.
Well, thanks, Derek. Doug, let's hear what the people think about this movie.
I
Use your words.
glanced at these. Did you take you a while to find these?
No.
Okay. Let's see. what Derek thinks about some. Okay. This first one, 4 out of 10. Yikes. Let's face it, this movie sucks. Cat Loogie, June 15th, 2023. It's straight up not good. Every animation part, like Arnold with his mask, is horrible.
You're really sounding like the Terminator when you read right now.
That's the way.
Jeez.
That's the way it's on here.
Put some action into that.
I'll be back. No. The action is not good, and I get that it was amazing for its time. Just watch Indiana Jones, which came out only 2 years later, and the special effects and action is 1,000 times better. Okay. Indiana Jones.
They may be wrong on those dates. Which Indiana Jones are they talking about?
I'm guessing they're talking about Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom?
I thought Temple of Doom was 84. We'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
But Raiders was 81, right?
No, I think it was this.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, so you got
Just
me,
continue.
Go to the Google.
You got me really thinking.
But like Indiana Jones was all practical stuff too. Anyway. Let's see. Came on 2 years later. 2 years later, and the special effects and action is 1,000 times better. Why does this movie get an 8.1? The only good thing about this movie is the story, and even then, it's not that good. Wah, wah.
Damn.
Another weird part about this movie is its hero. He's just not good. Not a Michael Biehn fan, okay. He acts weird all the time, and honestly, I just prefer Arnie to be the hero. With as much crap as I'm giving this movie, I still enjoyed it.
Nothing makes sense there.
For what it is, but what I'm saying is, God, it's hard to rewatch. It's just terrible, and I don't really recommend it to anyone. But
that was a struggle there, Doug.
But you enjoyed it.
Struggle.
But you enjoyed it. That's the part I took from it.
So, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom did come out in 1984. So I don't know what they're referring to there. Must be thinking of Last Crusade.
Look at the year this was written, 2023.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know because, I mean, Last Crusade was like 5 years later, so I don't know what they're talking about. Unless he meant 2 years earlier with
well, it's apparent
Raiders.
That they don't know what they were.
I don't know. Go ahead, Doug. Next one.
The next one. Okay, 8 out of 10. Perfect action film. Diego Sinclair, February 8th, 2026. Wow, very recent. Mm-hmm. What a great movie. It's incredible, tense from the beginning to the end, with every single moment being interesting. It's a perfect action film. The chase and fight scenes still hold up remarkably well. A lot of effort went into this movie, and it shows. Starting with 2 naked men...
Because that's what I think about.
That's the first part I think about every time. Was a brilliant choice.
In a circle.
Hated it.
If you've not seen In Living Color, you don't know what we're talking about.
Gotta go back. See. I forgot. Lost my place.
Them naked men.
Them naked men's. Yes. They immediately hooked me. Oh, this is saying a little more about you than it is anything. But there's also a very well crafted and above all, a very complete sci-fi story. They thought of everything to avoid any plot holes.
Keep going, Doug.
Just when you think it's going to end, they throw in something else to keep the story going. And the conclusion is also satisfying, considering everything that came before. Well, I haven't enjoyed reading one of these till that one. Let's see what this next one says. 1 out of 10. He'll not be back. On my screen, Wolf Falling Jones, January 7th, 2022. This film is really bad and badly aged, not for people who like visual effects or strong plot. Bad editing, bad effects, terrible script, and the characters you don't care for. This film is aged like a dog turn in a milky this film aged like a dog turn.
It actually says say turn. I'm looking at the sheet. Yeah.
In a milky.
I know what they mean though.
In a milky basket. I think Wallace and Gromit's version is better.
What?
Wallace and Gromit's a claymation show, which is actually pretty good.
Did they do Terminator in Wallace and Gromit?
I don't think so. I don't know. I haven't seen if they did. Okay, let's read this last one here. This last one is not from Mr. Ebert. Did he not have one on this?
No, there wasn't one on there. I could not find one.
Okay, this next one, 10 out of 10. One of the best movies ever made. It's another Luigi. December 6, 1998. Terminator is my favorite movie. I love the characters, the script, and the actors. I know it's an old movie, but what the hell? I never get tired of seeing it. Call me obsessive. So what else can I say? I recommend it to all those sci-fi lovers like me.
Man, all over the place.
Yeah.
Reviews all over the spectrum.
Well, and see, when I was trying to find the Ebert one, the only thing I could find that was on his website, because there's still current reviews, but it's other people that work for the company. It was a guy recently reviewed, and I want to try to stick with Ebert's
actual original stuff.
Yeah, so
well,
I just didn't pull it.
If it didn't show anything, this movie is such a thought-provoking film.
Yeah.
Which is what it was meant to be. So,
and the only thing I could think of is the reason maybe I couldn't find one, because I know back then he was doing reviews with Siskel. Like they would do the TV show and stuff like that. So there might have been one on the actual show, but I couldn't find one of his reviews. Well, thank you, Doug. All right, let's get into our scene by scene. Scene 1. The T-800 arrives from the future, kills 3 men, and takes their clothes. Kyle Reese arrives and takes a man's pants. I couldn't get away from just saying that. We meet Sarah Connor, and the T-800 acquires weapons. The hunt for Sarah Connor begins. The T-800 kills the first Sarah Connor, and Kyle dreams of the future.
Nice.
So there is one thing that I did find out. So in the original script for this movie, there was supposed to have been an area where the T-800, how he knew that it was the actual Sarah Connor. I think there's actually a few deleted scenes. So you know how she gets that shard in her leg at the end when the Terminator explodes?
Right.
Well, she apparently is supposed to have pins in her leg, like kind of where that area is at, because apparently it broke her leg too. And that was one way to identify, because they didn't know what she looked like, was the pins in her leg. And so there was actually deleted scenes. I don't know if they filmed it, but in the script of the Terminator actually taking the lady's leg and tearing open her leg to see if that's where the pins
to confirm the kill.
Yeah. And so
wait. But okay, is that for T2? No, it couldn't be for this one. How could it be for this one? If she got how could she have it before he got there?
That's what messes with the time.
Because they didn't know. Skynet didn't know when the surgery was done.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't know. Okay, so they didn't know it was from the destruction of the
right
Terminator. They just knew she had pins in her leg.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was one way they identified that it was Sarah Connor. So they didn't. I think it was
good they left that out. Because that would be a lot to try and explain.
Yeah.
I mean, complicated.
All of a sudden you see, because if you notice, when he kills the what is it, Ginger?
Yeah,
the roommate.
He like starts like like picking up her limbs and stuff, but then all of a sudden Sarah calls on the phone call, and that kind of distracts him. So that was kind of part of it where he was going to start looking for the pins and stuff, but they decided to kind of cut that out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the way this movie begins, the establishing shot of that tank rolling over the
Skulls?
mountain of human skulls,
Yes.
and then you have the hunter killer in the background, and so
we
you
get the
that.
text scroll
Yeah,
of like
you get the little single screen of that paragraph of text that explains
what's going on.
what's going on. But the way the movie begins,
Yeah.
boom, that dystopian post-apocalyptic war scene is jarring,
Very jarring, yeah.
and
We've never seen this before back
Right.
then.
No.
I mean,
so and T2 begins the same way.
Yeah.
Except the Terminator crushes on the skull.
Yeah, it's just a little
Steps
more.
on it.
Of course, it's a little more polished, but
But
iconic stuff.
I mean, yeah, that's quite a scene. It's really gripping from the get go. You,
and
if
I
all
love
if all you know of Terminator is the poster, or
Yeah.
maybe you've seen a little bit of the trailer, you're not expecting that the movie to start that way.
well, and I love that the text. It's very 1980s computer.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Very. I don't know. I literally just watched it again.
Oregon Trail type stuff.
I mean, I just love it because in T2 everything is very
You died from dysentery.
polished and 90s basically. So
yeah. So I love the way the movie starts, and then you get the time travel scene, where Doug's favorite character, the trash truck
Absolutely.
driver.
and do you notice how smart he was? Like he didn't want to investigate it. He was like, I'm out.
What the
He just
hell
ran.
is that?
Yeah,
He was very smart.
With a stogie in his mouth.
So there's a huge difference in the way that Arnold travels through time,
yeah.
and Kyle Reese. Kyle Reese is kind of like just dumped there.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
like,
and
There's an explanation for that.
probably because the machines are more precise. in
Yes,
their
exactly.
ability
That's
to-
exactly because they knew how to use the machine, and the humans
we're just trying to figure it out.
just trying to figure out. 'Cause
Hey, what's this button do?
Yeah. Hold on, man.
let's send this dog in first before we go.
You know, I thought about the beginning scene you were talking about. It made me think of. You remember how they done in Man of Steel when they were playing the game, and
Oh, yeah.
he was sinking down into the skulls. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was reminiscent
Yeah.
of this.
But I do remember because I've seen a lot of backstory on all this stuff. They said that because like Kyle Reese says he says in the next couple scenes, but he says that we won the war, so pretty much Skynet was their last ditch effort to send a Terminator back to try to change the future. So they probably got to the factory or whatever, and they're like, all right, get him through. This does it, that does it, that does it. But then they couldn't be accurate. And he falls, 12 feet at least?
Yeah.
Higher? I don't know.
Yeah.
He hits hard. But then Terminator, I keep on calling him a T-800 in this, but T-800, he just rises up. And it's such an iconic scene. Like you were talking about earlier, Derek, him just walking up to the...
Looks over the city and,
Yeah.
and
it's-
scans the environment.
I wonder if he was thinking like he was trying to do that Atlas pose the way he was.
It
when he
probably.
stood up.
Yeah.
You know, because that would be like in the bodybuilding.
That establishing shot though of Arnold muscles rippling. I mean, he's a mountain of a man. It's just it's an enthralling way to enter the movie, and the lightning and everything that they use to create this time travel aspect. I thought it was pretty well done. It looks good on
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
Even
Well,
when
see,
they did the cutaway.
You think about how you're
stuff
going to
and all.
conceptualize that.
Yeah.
I know in Terminator 2, they up it a little bit, and it's like a sphere of energy or whatever.
Well, they probably actually use like when they were doing CG for T-1000, they probably used computers, but in this, it was actually probably hand-drawn animation,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the lightning and all that stuff. And I think at first they just right at the beginning, just for the first 5 minutes, they tried to establish we don't know who is good and who is bad.
Oh, yeah, you don't know who's
'Cause they
who.
they do the same thing in the second one.
Right.
But as soon as he tears a hole through somebody's chest and steals
Yeah.
the clothes, then we know.
Yeah, and talking about the movie reeking of 80s, those 80s punks.
Yes.
You know, Bill
Dude,
Paxton.
the clothes in this
oh,
movie.
man. Give me your clothes. But
When you recognize that the one guy that gets his chest ripped out is he was in Cobra.
He was the bad guy.
Oh,
in
yeah.
He was sweating in this one too. Just sweaty slasher. What the heck is his name?
Yeah.
He's a big guy too. Not as big as Arnold, but you know.
No, I mean he's been in it. He's one.
wash
of those
day tomorrow.
Brian
Nothing clean
Thompson.
to wear.
to wear?
Brian Thompson, that's who it was. But he's been in so much. He's just one of those, character actors.
He's always
been in everything.
Yeah.
I read that the location where Arnold kills encounters the punks and kills one of them is Griffith Observatory,
Yeah, I've been there.
which they say is actually in Terminator Salvation. It's
Yeah,
the ruins of it.
Yeah, because they kind of recreated that. It's also in Genesis or whatever because they kind of recreated the first where he's.
And the reason why that location is significant, according to the lore, is Skynet's central command is like
really?
underneath it or something like that in the
that's cool.
future.
Oh, that's cool. Deep cut.
So
I hadn't heard that. That's cool.
yeah, some of the nerds may fact check me on that.
Under
but
the
I'm
observatory.
pretty
That's
sure.
cool, though.
Yeah.
So we mentioned that he kills Brian Thompson. He kills the other guy, or no, I guess he gets the clothes from the third guy, but most likely kills him too. But
Gets shanked.
Bill Paxton. This was an early Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
And remember, Bill Paxton and Lance are the two people that's been killed by the three major baddies:
Yeah, they got killed by Xenomorph.
Predator,
Aliens.
and Terminator. They're the two people the only people that's done that, which I think that's awesome. So we see Kyle. He steals the man's pants, and I'm sorry, but I guess he's just kind of used to being in not taking a bath in a war-stricken area. So he probably taking a homeless man's
Pants and
urine-stained
putting on your
pants.
naked body.
That probably didn't affect him at
He
all.
ain't got no problem with that.
No. And then he goes on the run.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
The cops are going after him for some weird reason. They just pull up. They never explain why.
Well, don't they pull up right? They pull up right after he's stealing the man's and
he's
the
pulling
hobo's like.
But why did they pull up?
They wondered
never-
what the heck was going on because he was naked. Now the other guy's naked. They're going like, "What are you guys doing over there?"
Well, and this is where we kind of see Kyle's trying to figure out like if he's in the right year because he asked that
He
cop.
holds up the police officer. What day is it?
It's the third.
What year?
What year? What?
What do you mean? What year?
And this is where I've heard a lot of people question like why does Kyle kind of know what he's doing in all these department stores and where he's going. You got to think probably in the future that's probably literally they're either fighting the Terminators or scavenging through all these buildings that are still up.
And I like the shoes he picked out.
That's some pretty awesome high tops.
Yeah.
Probably LA gear.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of people were questioning how does he know there's a shotgun in the police car? Well, again, scavenging through all these
How many
broken
wrecked?
cars.
Yeah, I mean, if you get into this, you can nitpick it to
Yeah,
death.
I don't understand why people
don't do that.
People do the same thing with Back to the Future.
And I tell you what, when he gets on the street after kind of getting away from the cops, he's got the trench coat on, he's got the shotgun hidden. He is creepy and sketchy as heck. I'm serious.
I think that was the point of it.
Yeah, he just looks like he's drugged out walking on the street there, which I think was pretty awesome to see what he's gone through and everything. I mean, he might be still messed up from the time traveling. Who
Probably.
knows?
There's a lot of cocaine in the 80s. He probably run across
Yeah,
some.
and this isn't like the glamorized Hollywood
No.
side of Los Angeles. This is gritty and
Skid Row side.
yeah,
I've been down Skid Row. It's sketchy. It's scary.
kind of like downtown Nashville, huh?
No, it's
It's
getting there.
worse.
It's getting there.
It's worse. So this is where we meet Sarah Connor. I guess it's like the next day.
Yeah.
And we see Sarah Connor driving that original mopeds and stuff like that. I always liked those old mopeds, but
You
then
got a pedal.
then I realized they're kind of.
So she's a working woman.
Yeah,
she's like
she's
just
just a
a
waitress.
normal person.
Is that a big boy that she works at?
I think it might be a riff on that. It's called something else in the movie. I can't remember, but the thing I remember most about her job is the kid who puts the ice cream in her apron.
Oh, God. That made me mad so much. And you also got to think this. Really got to think this is the last time things will ever be normal for her.
Oh yeah,
ever. Because from now on, she's either going to be training John, running from the cops, running from But this is the
whole
last
life
day.
is about to change.
Yeah,
and
this
doesn't
is
even know
November
it.
5th, 1955 moment.
Yeah, definitely. So this is where we first get the.
This is where Arnold goes to the phone booth, right? And he opens up the phone book and he starts scanning down, and he's looking for Sarah Connor.
The three, and she just, and I will say,
break it down for the newbies. What is a
for those of you out there born after the year 2000, back in the day, in order to look up somebody's phone number, we had this thing called the Yellow Pages.
When he was looking at the white pages.
You go and you open up a giant book called the phone book, and it had everybody's name and number and address listed.
That thick.
You imagine the L.A. phone book? Massive.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so funny that our Sarah Connor is the last one on the list. So she got really lucky that she was the last one on the list.
So, but if you think if you're a machine, this is the most logical thing. You just start going down the line because they don't know.
There was no technology back then.
Right.
Like they had technology in, 2029?
Yeah.
To figure out where she was at, but they don't, back then, no technology. So this was the technology to use a phone book.
And what was the first thing he did in T2? He jacked into the policeman's computer in his car.
Yeah.
And started scanning.
Yeah. I love the fact that when he goes to that phone booth, he pulls that guy away, but this guy is also smart too. He may say something to the T-800, but he's like, man, you got a real attitude problem. But then he walks away. So he's another smart guy, because sometimes, these guys want to fight back and then they wind up getting killed.
Well, I mean, you see somebody the size of Arnold, just yank it. I was like, okay.
So I haven't researched this myself, but I've always heard that if you the scene where he opens up the phone book, Arnold does.
Yeah.
If you pause it and sort of zoom in, his one finger, like his thumb, is on John Connor.
There's John Connor in there?
And then he uses his other finger to point and scroll down Sarah Connor. I've heard that. I've not looked into it myself. You may want to fire up the DVD and pause it there and see if you can actually see it. But
that's cool. That's cool.
That'd be a nice little teaser.
Well, see, I bought this last year on. I've got it on 4K. It looks really good. Yeah. Like none of the graininess is, they didn't take any of the grain. They just improved it. It looks great though. For this to be in a 42-year-old movie, looks really
So
good.
you need to pop in the DVD, see if you can find that scene.
Yeah. So this is where he goes into the weapons shop now.
Oh, he goes to the pawn store.
Yeah. And
got any plasma rifles?
Just what you see here, buddy.
Just what you see on the walls. What I got.
What is his name? Dick Miller.
You remember him from Gremlins?
Gremlins.
He was the crazy guy in Gremlins that drove the tractor everywhere.
He's been in so much. He is definitely one of those kind of well-known character actors.
So I heard that the laser sight, which becomes iconic in the movie,
I think it's huge.
That was for 1984. That was not a thing. It was. They had to create this to work specifically for the movie, and they like ran a wire up Arnold's sleeve to a battery pack that they had attached to his body to make it work.
That actually makes sense, because I've seen other like later 80s movies, and the laser is twice as big. Mm-hmm. That the laser back then was actually twice as big than the one he had.
Well, look what they did in Cobra. I mean, the laser looked like he stuck a bat on top of a gun.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, this is. I love this movie. It's a bad movie, but I love it. Friday the 13th, Part 6.
Oh.
One of the cops, he just got a new weapon with a new laser, and I swear to you, the laser is as big as this microphone. It's this long, but it's like that thick. And I was like, it looks so ridiculous. But I think on Terminator's gun, it looks awesome. But I didn't know that, Derek. I thought they were just already available or whatever. But
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. No, that's cool. It's cool. So, and this is where Kyle he breaks into a car and he kind of wants to just take a nap real quick.
Well,
and
you
this is
see
where,
the scavenger side of him. He has to rest when he can.
yeah. And this is where we see what he's going through in the future.
Yeah, he's having some PTSD.
Yeah. And this is where we start seeing them crawling around the rubble and fighting the machines. And he sees his partner get killed by one of the machines, and he's in a car and it gets blown up, and he's in the car and it's on fire, and that's when he wakes up. And it's a really cool scene because we see another glimpse of what he went through in the future against the.
I thought it was a cool way to introduce with the dogs. Why the dogs are so important.
Yeah. And if you'll notice, when he later on, when they go to check in the hotel, he walks up to the dog and lets the dog sniff his hand.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool scene. You guys got anything else for scene 1? You want to go to scene 2 now?
Yep.
Okay. All right. The cops discovered the murdered woman. Oh, we didn't even mention that. The T-800 found the first Sarah Connor, and she's like, "Yes, Sarah Connor."
Are you Sarah Connor?
Yes. And he busts open the door and just shoots her like 5 or 6 times.
Any time.
That's why I was saying it's like another horror element. He's just like wiping out people. Sorry. So the cops discovered the murdered woman were named Sarah Connor. Unable to contact Sarah, who had gone out, she used a nightclub phone to call them. Before the T-800 tracked her down, he killed Ginger and her boyfriend. Kyle saves Sarah with a gunfight leading to a chase.
Let's give a shout out to the Sony Walkman.
Well, this is where we see like Sarah. She's getting ready to go out with like, I guess it's a guy she's about to date or boyfriend, whatever. But he winds up calling and canceling on her. And I don't know if you guys know this, but that was James Cameron on the phone.
Oh, was it?
Oh,
It
nice.
was her like boyfriend. Yeah, that was saying, "Sorry, Sarah, I got some things came up. We'll try to do this again."
There's like a meta joke that takes place when, I can't remember if it's in this scene or maybe later on, when the call is picked up by the answering machine, and she says on the answering machine, she says her name. "Oh, but you're talking to a machine, and machines need love too." Do y'all remember that?
Yeah, that's right after when the Terminator kills Ginger and the boyfriend. 'Cause he turns around and that's when the answering machine.
Yeah, it's almost like a meta joke there. And Terminator notices it. But there's another lost piece of technology: the answering machine. That was definitely something from the 80s. Where I remember we used to have one as a kid, and my mom would like put in a new cassette tape and record the pickup message and all that. That was cutting edge stuff.
Yes, it was.
So Sarah pretty much, she goes out and she knows from the first scene, when she was in the restaurant, she knows that Sarah Connor has been killed.
Yeah.
And
Gets it from the news.
yes, gets it from the
TV
news.
report.
Well, and then she goes out and she's eating like at a, I guess it's like just a club / restaurant. This is the first one she goes to, and she hears the news report at the bar there.
Mm-hmm. Well, doesn't the waitress say, "Hey, honey, you're dead"?
Yeah. And this is where she hears a second Sarah Connor victim has been killed, and this is where she starts to freak out. And she tries calling. I guess she makes her way to the nightclub.
Tech Noir,
and she tries to use the phone trying to call the cops, but she can't get through. And
by the way, every time she uses the phone, it causes trouble.
I know.
You notice that?
Time. Yeah. And the next scene, I think
cell phones were a problem.
Yeah.
These landlines.
Because that's how the Terminator uses to track her down.
Yeah. So I feel like this is another very iconic scene where she's freaking out. The cops tell her to stay there. She's already seen Kyle following her, so that's when she runs into the nightclub. So she's sitting there, the music's playing. She looks up and she sees Kyle at the bar.
From the, I thought, and she sees. That's when she noticed the security camera people coming in. They had where the bouncer was.
Yeah, she goes through like the gate and she has to pay like a cover charge and all that stuff. And she sees Kyle. Well, she accidentally, I think she knocks over her napkin, a bottle or something, and that's when she leans down. Well, then next thing you see is the T-800 walking by, and he looks over towards her, but he doesn't see her.
Because she's leaned down.
Yeah. And then she gets back up, and then he turns around again, and that's when he sees her.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
It's because it's in slow motion.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And then you get one of the best lines, "Come with me if you want to live."
Yeah. And
Which
we have
is
a big shootout
Michael
right
Bean's line.
Yeah. And
Which Terminator uses it in the second movie.
Yes. Well, and this is where we see what the Terminator can stand up to. I mean, he takes 6 or 7 or more gunshot blasts to the chest, and nothing happens to him. And this is when he goes
through the window.
Yeah.
And and there's a guy sitting there with a Nikon. You get the ching, ching, ching. He's taking pictures.
No, that's the second one.
When he takes the pictures from the first one, remember? And they come back.
No.
And
second one, he takes pictures because they're in the mall. They get the footage from the police shootout in the police station.
Oh, when he's walking through. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I can't remember when this happens. I think this is probably before, and I hate to back up, but when he kills the first Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
Do you remember? There's like a really quick scene where there's a toy truck in the road, and Arnold pulls up and rolls over it with his car.
It's the same type truck.
It's like foreshadowing of the end of the movie when he gets run over by that big truck.
Well, I was gonna say, and also it's the same type truck in T2 that the T1000 steals.
Oh,
It's a similar truck.
Yeah.
So James Cameron's like,
Yeah.
he's essentially selling the part 2 of this in this movie.
What kind of truck is that they eventually he gets hit by?
Freightliner, something like that.
Call it a snub nose or something like that?
Oh, it's a COE. It's a cab over.
Yeah.
You talking about the one T2?
Like Optimus
chops-
Prime.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Where they have the chase in the canal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he comes under the bridge and then the T1000 pops up and pushes the glass out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And we didn't say it too. Like the T800, when he's first killed, he don't know what she looks like.
no.
He doesn't know till after he kills Ginger. And
Yeah.
he starts looking around for pictures.
He sees the pictures and he hears her voice for the first time saying that I'm Sarah Connor. So it's the last one on the list because he thinks Ginger. He's thinking that
He thinks
Ginger
it's over.
is Sarah Connor. And like I said, that's where he's starting to check her, but then he hears her voice on the answer machine.
And give it up to Strider from Top Gun. You know,
Oh, her boyfriend?
He stunk in this movie too. He was the one that stunk in Top Gun. He's like, you stink.
Like you talking about the boyfriend?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. We got to give it to him that he stood up to Arnold or the T-800.
He tried.
Not many people can, but he gave it all he could.
He was a little bit.
What was it? He was fighting in his purple underwear.
Yeah, he just did the dirty with his girlfriend. Okay, so he's not really prepared.
No.
to
He's
go
a little
into Mortal
weak-legged.
Kombat.
No.
So,
But he did the best he could. I mean, you can't see, like that cop later on when he takes
make your legs weak.
when he takes that cop car later on. I mean, that cop he just bashes that cop against the cop car and throws him out. This guy, he actually, he's able to stand up to him for a few 30 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
But
And he's a pretty good sized guy too. He's tall, so
well, I think he's been in other Arnold movies too. I think like as background characters and stuff.
Probably.
Like that. So, like you said, Derek, this is where we see Kyle saving Sarah. Come with me if you want to live. Mm-hmm. And this is where a big car chase happens, and
in the parking garage and all that.
yeah, well, and they run out in the alley, and the Terminator's running right after him. And this is where Kyle blows up I guess he blows up another car or whatever. And we see the Terminator get burned. Like his hair is all singed. He's got no eyebrows.
Yeah, I love the way as you move through the movie, the Terminator gets deteriorated
Yeah.
slowly.
Yeah.
And his flesh, the outer flesh, gets more and more destroyed.
Yeah.
And it adds to that horror aspect. You see the machine underneath all of that.
Yeah.
Hair and skin and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you guys got anything else for this scene? You want to go to scene 3 now?
So that scene where Michael Biehn talks to her and kind of gives her that explanation. Is that in the
next scene? I kind of had to break it up right there.
Okay.
Okay, so scene 3, Kyle explains to Sarah what it is and how the war started. That didn't make sense. I don't know why I typed that. The T-800 gets shot while the cops took them in. The injured T-800 repairs itself and reveals the machine underneath. Kyle tries to convince the cops of everything. The T-800 arrives at the police station and wreaks havoc, killing all the cops. Kyle and Sarah escape.
Would you consider scene 3 to be the most iconic scenes from this movie?
Well, definitely the assault on the police.
On the precinct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. But that plot dump, I love that speech. That's my favorite speech in the movie, where Kyle is explaining to Sarah what they're up against.
Yeah.
I love that little monologue that he gives there. And then the hotel room where T-800 goes and he starts to take the X-Acto knife and he's cutting around his skin and all that.
Yeah, because Kyle's able to get a shot off, like right in his eye, like with a shotgun, and that's when he crashes, and this is where they get separated again. And I was just sitting there watching that scene of him cutting his eye out, and then he has to repair his arm.
And you even think, even though I was thinking about that, the whole scene, it's part of his programming to try to remain as human looking as possible because that's how he hides.
Yeah.
So the fact that Kyle's chipping away at that is.
So a lot of that scene is animatronics.
Yeah.
It's done in camera. It's all makeup, and
I think it looks amazing.
Did Stan Winston do that? Did he do that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because he designed the Terminator.
Now, to me, I think this is part of the movie that doesn't hold up as well. At the special effects, they're a little rough, and you can tell it's animatronics,
stop motion kind of.
Yeah.
The way, especially like when he's looking in the mirror, you see the.
It's the eyes.
Yeah.
I think it's the because once he puts the glasses on after he's repaired himself,
it's him.
It looks. Well, I think it's still just right when he puts on. It's still him, the animatronic for a second. I think it look. I personally, because I love practical effects, and I think.
Oh yeah,
they're
great,
amazing.
Imagine the
it's
time
just the
whenever
eyes
that
is what makes it look a little bad.
I mean, for its time, it's very well done, and especially with the budget they had.
Oh yeah,
but I think this is part of the movie that shows its age. It doesn't hold up as well.
Well, I know, like in the like the TV edit, when you first see it, you lose some of that from when Kyle when he gets that burn. Yeah. You'll lose some of the and it'll snap back to the bathroom scene, and his hair looks like he's got a bad cowlick on the side of it, but it's really where he got singed.
Yeah,
all the hair got singed off.
But the eye scene where he's taking that knife and cutting around his eye, that's just. It makes your skin crawl.
It does.
Oh, when he like sticks it in the side and pulling it out.
And the way that it's shot with the blood dripping into the sink. I mean, it's shot very well.
I think the eye that they used when they did the close up of it, I think they said it was like this
huge,
this big, huge. So it was an awesome little shot because I mean something that small that where they actually made the eye move, it'd have to be huge back then.
Oh yeah. There's like a 16-inch prop in somebody's building right now, the Terminator eyeball.
So I want to just real quick read what Kyle said. He said this is when Sarah's trying to fight back and she bites him. And he says, "Cyborgs don't feel pain. I do. Don't do that again." And she says, "Let me go." Kyle says, "Listen and understand that there's a Terminator out there. it can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear. It absolutely will not stop ever until you are dead. And she says, can you stop it? And he says, I don't know. With these weapons, I don't know.
Great line.
And it's was it Dark Fate when you get to see what happens after the Terminator finishes his mission? Because he was lost. He didn't know what to do.
Well,
After him killing Kyle Reese, and then it goes back, and he was end up being like in that movie. He was
because that was
help her.
It was supposed to have been like a separate Terminator because it's
It's a timeline shift.
it's supposed to be a different one. But yeah, pretty much they sent a different Terminator, and
Right,
he's still trying to
director.
fulfill his destiny of killing John Connor. So it's a
And he does it.
He
and
does
then
it,
What's
yeah.
he do? He starts selling blind.
well.
It's like Zod with no purpose.
Yeah, it's like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
I guess pretty much, Skynet pretty much orders them to kind of fit into life to eventually wait on the Armageddon, basically. Mm-hmm. I guess. But
So let's talk about the police station scene.
yeah,
Oh,
That's where you meet one of the worst villains of the whole series, which is Dr. Silverman. I could make an entire career off of this.
I didn't know where you were going with that. Yeah, I mean, and then of course, we get him back in part 2 and part 3. Actually,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's in all 3 of them. But this is where we see Kyle. He also explains in the garage, but then also he's trying to explain to the cops of what's going on, what happens in the future, and of course, they don't believe him. They think
Yeah.
he's crazy, and
guy's cracked out.
so this is where after they've diagnosed him, he leaves.
Schizophrenic or whatever.
Yeah, the doctor leaves, but his beeper goes off. Remember beepers back
Oh,
in the
yeah.
day?
Yeah.
His beeper goes off,
Pagers.
and he doesn't see the T-800 as he's walking in the door. So they don't actually see each other.
Mm-hmm.
So the T-800 walks up. I need to see Sarah Connor, and the cop's like, she's being interrogated right now. You just have to sit here and wait if you want to. And he looks. T-800 looks at the structure of the window.
Yeah.
It's awesome scene. And he's like,
I'll be back.
I'll be back. And then
The
next
world
thing
was
you
never same after that line.
Next thing you see him driving a car
Through that.
through that.
He was seeing if the car would make it through.
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's such an awesome little detail of him seeing like the structure, just looking.
Yeah, he's casing the joint, figuring out. Yeah, I think I can drive a car through this.
Yeah, I can make it.
And this is where all hell breaks loose. Him just like killing
Literally.
cops left and right.
30 of them, didn't they say?
Yeah,
There's 30
it was
in
like
there.
28 or
He's-
30
he's like,
cops.
you can sleep safe now. There's 30 cops.
Yeah,
in this
no.
place.
Well, so he's got he's got a shotgun and like an AK-47.
And he's
or
got a
whatever.
little. He has a little Uzi at one point too.
Uzi 9mm.
9mm.
Yeah, because he had the Uzi in the nightclub.
Yeah.
He takes out like 3 people just to try to kill him.
Well, what you talked about when the sergeant was talking to Sarah? She's like, well, and when he's trying to tell her, Kyle Reese he's trying to tell him he's crazy, and she's like, well, he punched through a windshield, and
Yeah, that's when they bring out the bulletproof, the 80s bulletproof vest that probably weighs, what did he say, weighs like 30 pounds or
yeah.
something.
He's like, this guy probably broke every bone in his body. I've seen guys get all cranked up, and he won't even know he broke his hand.
And, that was one thing, Lance's character, and that he kept on trying to tell a story on every little scene, but then he'd get cut off by the other cop. I ain't got time for that. Here, take this. And he just kept on getting cut, so we never heard the rest of the stories. It was such a little funny moment in every little scene. So pretty much, I do love the scene where the T-800 he cuts the power, and he realizes that it's an even better way of pretty much what do you say, confusing the cops and
Yeah.
Hunting them down.
hunting them
Hunt 'em
down
down.
because he can see in the dark, so
Yeah.
it's no problem for him. So he kills a bunch of them. They Kyle and Sarah get away.
Yeah, and well, in the chaos, and how many times did you see the cops think they're ambushing them? And a lot of them, it would like show if ones were threats and ones were not, which really he didn't consider any of them a threat.
No.
He was just looking for Sarah.
I do love the fact that he shoots. As the cops like running through the doorway, he shoots the wall too.
Yeah.
It's such an awesome scene.
And then I mean, they're catching, and they keep thinking we got him, and they jump out, and they're just blowing all these holes, and he doesn't even move. I'm like,
Because they're just using like what, single shot, pretty much rifles.
Back then, like the standard, all of them had like six shot revolvers.
Yeah.
Just 38s. That was like the standard police issue gun back then. So.
Well, and they start pulling out rifles, but they're not like what he's using. He's using fully automatic.
Yeah, and the stuff
and they're using semi-automatic.
and he doesn't miss.
No, and of course he's taking hits left and right, but it's doing nothing to him.
Nothing.
So pretty much this scene ends. Sarah and Kyle get away, and they kind of park underneath a bridge,
overpass or something. Yeah,
and
In the rain.
she wants to know more about what's going on in the future and stuff, and he starts telling her, and then they both fall asleep, and this is where we have another scene into the future. This is where the scene where they're kind of going back to their base.
Yeah, they show John Connor
Giving him a photo.
And this is where we see that Terminator breaking into the base and killing people left and right.
Yeah, the dogs, it starts going crazy.
And
and they show the red eye.
Yeah, and the photo,
the red
burns
eyes
up.
Yeah.
And I think something else that's unforgettable from that part is the kid who's watching the fire inside the TV. Yeah. It's just such a weird image.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. All right. You want to move on to scene 4?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, scene 4, Kyle reveals more about the future. They get a motel room for the night, and Sarah calls her mom. Derek, this is where you're...
Oh, yeah. Every time she uses the phone, man.
It's revealed that the T-800... She's talking to the T-800. He finds out where they are at. Kyle reveals that she is the reason he came back, and that he's in love with her, and they make love. So, okay, the scene where the T-800, he's in his apartment. Mm-hmm. Did you guys notice he's looking through like a little notebook of Sarah's? Mm-hmm. He's trying to find
appointment book.
Yeah, appointment book, and he's trying to find out where she could possibly go or hide, whatever. And did you guys notice he's got flies all over him?
Yeah.
Because the flesh
Flesh
is
rotting.
Yeah,
Open
crazy.
sores.
Yeah, because they do say it is human tissue over an endoskeleton.
Human tissue of a metal endoskeleton.
So it is rotting, and I always thought that was such an awesome scene. You just see flies, and they kind of do a zoom up on his face. Fly.
But what will they say in T2? Is this going to heal? Yes.
Yeah, he does heal.
He heals.
He heals. And then this is where I don't want to say the line because it has some language in it, but there's a guy knocking on the door. Hey, what do you got going on in there? Because he probably smells him because the smell.
Oh.
And that's when the Terminator looks at a list of things he could possibly say. And he's like, F you, and a-hole or something like that.
And it's like the neighbor or something because it stinks.
Well, that's what Bill Paxton says in the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
so it's like he learned that because they study human behavior, right?
Yeah,
to fit in.
It's a little just a funny moment in it. So they get the motel room. Kyle goes out to try to get supplies. Sarah probably thinks he's getting food, but he comes back.
Just go out and get the basics.
So
that scene from Dumb and Dumber. That was the last of the money.
So
got like a foam finger and a pinwheel.
Sarah makes the mistake of calling her mom, and it turns out the T-800 learned where her mom lives.
Mm-hmm. And mimics the voice.
Yeah, and they go into that cabin, and you see it's all destroyed.
Yeah, she's killed off screen. They don't actually show it.
Yeah, they don't show it.
You learn something else about the T-800, that he can mimic human voices, which they use in T2.
Yeah.
A lot, yeah.
Wolfie's fine.
Wolfie's just fine. Where are you?
Your step parents are dead.
Yeah.
So Kyle comes back with his supplies, and this is where he's teaching Sarah on how to make pipe bombs.
That's a pretty special first date.
That's pretty special. Just don't get it on the threads.
Yeah.
So pretty much he shows her that, and this is where it's kind of a shorter scene, but this is where he reveals to her, because she asks him, like, do you have anybody in the future? Do you have anybody that you love, or any kind of women? And he's like, well, all the women are fighting along with us. We're human. We're all fighting together. Mm-hmm. So there's no time for that. Mm-hmm. And this is where he reveals that he's in love with her, and she's the reason he came back to save her.
Because Kyle gave him the photo, which
John,
yes.
Yeah, no,
sorry.
You're good.
And then it's funny because when they're talking about the pipe bombs, Kyle's teaching Sarah. Sarah teaches John, which teaches Kyle in the future. So it's just.
So I have a
That's
theory.
the paradox of the movie that
I have a theory, because a lot of people are questioning, like, how does it make sense that you have to have Kyle to be able to make John, and the only way to have Kyle, or to make John, is Kyle has to go back in time to make John. So this is just my theory. I've kind of heard it bits and pieces. I'm thinking in the original timeline, Sarah got with somebody else and had John, and because Kyle wasn't born until 10 years later or whatever. So I think it was a different guy that Sarah had John with. But then when it came time to send Kyle back, because he was chosen to save her, Kyle became the new father. Does that make sense?
So there's not really, but this is the the whole paradox of the movie, right?
The only way to make the timeline make sense of you have to have a father to be able to make John.
But if that timeline would have happened, you wouldn't have had the.
Yeah. So this is the inherent loop of the movie, is that you have the effect creating the cause. All right. So, they send back Kyle from the future into the past.
Yeah.
And then Kyle and her get together. They conceive John. Mm-hmm. So you see the loop. So John is sending back his dad to be with his mom.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't send him back, then he doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. It's also the same thing with the T-800. The T-800 goes back in time, and then they have the final scene where he's crushed, and then the hand is discovered, which then creates Skynet. So that's one of the inherent paradoxes of the movie, is that you have self-creation, right? So it gets caught in a loop.
Yeah.
And that's the intricacy of the time travel thing. That, I mean, you can have an alternate theory if you want, but to me, I think that's the one part that's you can't really explain away.
So
you can't really explain it away.
Okay, I'm going to explain it like Doc did to Marty.
A tangent timeline.
So here's the normal timeline. This is where John Connor is conceived with a random person, we'll say.
But what is that based on?
Yeah, how can you?
But if you really want to go by the normal,
you're thinking of a future that never happened.
Well, listen. Let me explain it again. Here, let's see. Okay, so random man, she conceives John with a future boyfriend, random person. So they make John for the future. So, They find out that the Terminator they're going to send a Terminator back to kill Sarah. So they send Kyle back to save her. Well, he's in love with her. So now Kyle becomes the new father.
You know what the biggest problem
John.
with your
I see what you're
theory
saying.
is? If this never happened, there's no way to have a John Connor that would lead the resistance.
Sure there is.
To it with another person?
Yeah.
because she never got taught. Kyle's the one that taught her how to start teaching her how to survive, and she started getting that bug. If that never happened, she's just a regular suburban housewife with a child.
But I'm
And when
thinking,
when Skynet comes, if that happens, if they never send anybody back, they would just be killed.
But you could also, but with that normal timeline, you could say before the bombs drop, John Connor was in the military. You know, he joined the military, so he's being trained himself to become. Move your hand, jeez. he's becoming trained.
Use your words.
To be the future John Connor.
But
And then the bombs drop, and so they make him the leader or whatever.
with your theory, Walt Disney could be.
Don't make me do it.
You need to purchase for yourself.
Let Nathan have his theory. You can have it, and that's fine.
Just wait
But
till they send
I
back
just feel like-
RoboCop to destroy the Terminators, and
I just feel like
I think you have to accept the paradox. That's the only way that it really works.
I just feel like you can't. You have to. There has to be a normal timeline of her having a baby with somebody.
What's normal?
That's
to
the
be
whole
able to-
point of the movie. This has to happen. That's the whole
No,
debate about fate and free will and the future. And I don't think there's any way around it. Like,
it's predestined.
yeah,
But what I'm saying is, you can't have John Connor. No, wait.
Exactly. Your
Listen.
worldview is crumbling.
What you've just said is one of the most insanely
wish I had a
idiotic
magic
things I have ever heard.
a magic button.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
So all I'm saying is that's the way I feel like it had to have happened. That there had to been a separate person to conceive original John Connor for the normal timeline, and then when Skynet drops the bombs and creates time travel, because they know they're losing, so they send a Terminator back. So they have to send Kyle back to save Sarah, and Kyle is in love with Sarah, and so he becomes the new father of John Connor.
but he's in love with her because of the photo.
Yeah.
Photo. He looks at her and becomes enamored
She
with
could've
her.
taken
Even the photo travels in a loop.
All I'm saying is I just don't
Right.
feel like there could be there. You can't. It doesn't make sense if you think
It
about
doesn't.
it like that.
It doesn't.
So
Which
that's
is why you
why-
have to accept the paradox.
But see, that's why I'm trying to make it make sense.
You can't.
Like this.
It doesn't.
Underlining it doesn't make
even
it
even
true.
the photo travels in a loop if you think about it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
where's the
Right,
photo come
so-
from?
She could have randomly had that photo, like taken.
Okay, the
later
photo
on.
is taken at the end of the movie,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As she drives into
She
the
gives
storm.
it to John. John gives it to Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle comes back, shows it to her. So everything is in a loop.
Yeah.
It's what's called the grandfather paradox.
I got you, but
Well,
I'm saying
she doesn't see the photo because it gets burned.
yeah,
Yeah.
But he
had
described
to
it
have
to her.
been a father for John Connor, no matter what, even if they didn't send Kyle back.
But you're not
But it
using
does
movie
happen.
logic. You have to use movie logic, not real logic here.
I'm using time travel logic.
Okay, whatever.
Anyways, all right.
Thank
so
you.
they-
Wah, wah, wah.
You have to have the time travel. You have to have because the fact that the T-800 comes back is what forces its own creation. You see that?
Yeah, I see
So
that, but at
there's-
the same time,
this is inherent into the whole movie. It's
if-
baked in.
if there is no time travel, John Connor, according to what you're saying, is John Connor will not exist.
Right.
But there had to have been a John Connor for the future.
Why?
What do you mean? Why? There just is.
You're still playing into the future.
Okay.
That would never happen. If the Terminator never got sent back, they would never be the future.
Because the
It
Terminator
creation
changes
of
the
itself,
past. The Terminator changes the past. They're out of a
which
desperate.
creates a future.
They're so desperate that they change the past.
So
I
every
might would
time
buy
travel
into your
movie
theory.
has different rules that it
It
goes
does.
by, and you can't use Back to the Future time travel rules and apply it to this one because I think it's
No, same matter can't occupy the same space.
You're thinking of Time Cop. Okay, let's just
Let's move on to
Let's move
scene
on.
5.
So they make love. John Connor's born. Okay, so final scene.
Wait. Born in this movie.
Moving on.
Final scene. The T-800 pursues them. Kyle is shot and Sarah hits it. Hits it.
It's what?
I don't know. That doesn't make sense.
Who wrote this thing?
I did. Okay. I guess hits the Terminator. I think that's what I was trying to say. Causing a crash. The T-800 chases them in a semi, which Kyle blows up. It reveals a metal endoskeleton and chases them into a building. Kyle sacrifices himself, blowing up the T-800. Sarah crawls through a hydraulic press and crushes it. She records for her son.
There you go. So that final scene, the chase through, the truck blows up with the bomb that he puts in the back of it. But that scene where the metal skeleton emerges from the fire,
Yeah.
it's like a total fake out because you think, oh, they killed him.
When they see him burning.
Yeah, that's an awesome scene when he comes
yeah.
out of that burning mess and he just falls down, and
Well-
then all the flesh burns off of him. That's awesome.
Well, before that, when he's on the ground, that semi just runs him over.
Oh yeah, and he's got that limp.
Yeah, it damages him even more. And when he gets back in the truck, he's like, "Get out!" And you see, it's just like his face is all damaged,
Road
up,
rash off his face, yeah.
bleeding all over. I thought I had a count. I was trying to figure out how many people the T-800 killed in this
And
movie.
you think the T-1000 did the same thing with a helicopter?
Yeah.
Get out.
Made it even more iconic right there, just melting into the helicopter. So Kyle blows up the truck that he's in, and like Derek, you were saying, you think he's dead, and they're like hugging each other, and they're just like relieved, and then all of a sudden you hear like metal moving, and they look back, and the Terminator just rises up, and it's a very, very iconic scene. So they have to run. So that building that they run into, it's some kind of metal factory
Metal
or whatever.
fabrication place.
There's actually a deleted scene. It's an extended scene for the ending. That is actually Cyberdyne Systems.
Oh, okay.
There's a scene where there's two guys. They're putting Sarah on a stretcher, and there's a couple guys in the factory that work there, and they're like, "What? What are we gonna do with all this?" And they find the arm, and they find stuff.
I've seen that deleted scene.
It's a really cool deleted scene. And then I think they pan back or something, and that's when they show it says Cyberdyne Systems.
Cyberdyne.
So I thought it was a really cool scene.
I thought you were going to say they zoomed back and Kyle's real father showed up or something. I don't know.
So, but the hydraulic press where he's crushed, plants the seeds for the next movie.
Yeah.
Because they get the arm, they get the microchip. Mm-hmm. So again, you have the loop of creation, self-creation here, where the robot comes back from the future to the past, and then the parts left behind are what they use to create the robots for the future.
That was another tease about T2 when they're throwing the pipe bombs. Kyle's throwing the pipe bombs to try to blow them up.
Yeah.
In part 2, they're in the back of the S10, and Arnold's using that grenade launcher.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's well. I guess that goes back to what we were talking about before. That Cameron created one giant story that he was like, okay, this is too much for one movie, so I got to cut this in half.
But he's definitely putting threads in there.
Yeah, and using the other half for the second one.
So the final scene where she's in that Renegade. By the way, that Jeep Renegade's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Where you see that she's 6 months pregnant or whatever.
Yeah,
Something like that.
And then you see the photograph that will eventually be given in the future, and then she's making that recording, and a big theme of the movie comes out there about the future is not set, which later on in Terminator 2, no fate but what we make for ourselves. The future is not set. So she's driving like into the mountain area, and it's very dark and ominous.
She's going to Mexico, probably.
Yeah. So there's a sense of hope but then there's also a sense of doom at the same time because they're heading toward the apocalypse.
You know what's going to happen.
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day, yeah.
Yeah. So I love the way that the movie ends. It's dark. It's brooding. There is, when you see this in 1984, you have no idea that they're going to make a sequel.
No.
You think this is it. It's a one-off.
This movie could have just went away.
And it would have been just been a one-off.
Yeah.
You have no idea what's coming next. So I think the way that the movie ends is it wraps it up neatly, so that because I don't even think James Cameron knew he was going to. He may have had the idea, but it depended on how much money it made.
Yeah, he couldn't do it.
And he like he said in his interviews, he was waiting for the technology to get better so he could do this. So he had no idea if even the technology would get any better.
Yeah.
So like you said, a sequel was never even thought of to even try to do eventually. We don't know.
There is a happy ending, but it's not a normal happy ending. There's still a lot of doom and gloom ahead.
Yeah.
So I love the way that it ends.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I want to just point out when this is one thing I thought was so great about this movie was that you see Kyle get killed. Usually in most movies, you see the hero.
Oh yeah, good point.
Go on.
Yeah, he made the sacrifice.
Eventually train her to whatever. Yeah. But this one, he sacrifices himself and just gets killed. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was so great. Instead of him just being injured or Sarah, I'm okay. Is he dead?
There's no long death scene. Nothing like that.
No final words to her. I think he just tells her to run.
I think that's because he's just a soldier.
Yeah.
That's all he is.
Yeah. I thought that was so great of them doing that instead of just dragging it out or him,
So the way you think about the way Kyle was raised, everything he went through, he had the same coldness.
Yeah. Well, he said he was born in the war.
Yeah.
Or after
That's
the war
all he
started.
knew.
Yeah.
Kill or be killed. So it was like there's no.
Yeah. All right. You guys got anything else? I will say I did love when the Terminator was being crushed. Just all the detail of the endoskeleton just smashing down
and the light blinking on and off,
and just everything coming apart and arm reached out.
Oh yeah.
One day I would love to have the Terminator arm like in T2 just displayed. That would be awesome. But you guys got anything else? Final scene?
Let's wrap it up.
All right. All right, let's move on to our next category of...
Did not know that.
While shooting this film, James Cameron often resorted to, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, to what he called guerrilla filmmaking as a way of getting around acquiring permits needed to film certain scenes. This involved the production crew and actors quickly arriving at specific locations, shooting the scene, and leaving before the police arrive. As a result, some of the people seen in a few shots are actual everyday citizens completely unaware they're in a movie. This was also used for reshoots, with Cameron even calling and waking Arnold once at 3 a.m. to meet him at a location already in full costume to quickly reshoot a scene. Cameron also used this tactic to film the very last scene where Sarah drives off into the desert. Waiting for the heat to rise to the point that ripples could be filmed, a highway patrolman appeared. Producer Gail Ann Hurd convinced him that they were working on a UCLA film project, and he allowed them to finish.
That's pretty cool.
That's another thing that, like, Cameron is just like, he was waiting for them to get the ripples from the sun, which is awesome.
Yeah,
it's such a cool.
You can't recreate that any other way.
No, especially
got to have them ripples,
especially back then.
Can't have a movie without ripples.
All right. Let's move on to our categories.
Say hello to my little friend. Let's not play baseball.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Pizza. Dinner thing. Chicago.
Illinois Nazis. I hate Illinois Nazis.
All right, Doug. Let's start with you. You want to give your number one quote? Favorite quote?
Number one quote. There's jeez. It's a movie that's gotten famous from so many quotes in it, or one in particular. How do you really judge one quote as the, and I always try to think differently, but I liked it when the cops were actually trying to explain away all the stuff that Arnold was doing, the Terminator. Oh, I see guys like that all the time, cracked out of their mind. You know, he probably broke every hand in his.
He was probably on PCP.
Yeah, PCP. Yeah, that's probably my favorite scenes. Was all the dialogue with the cops trying to reassure that this isn't. It's all in their mind.
Yeah, trying to make it logical.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Kind of like the way you were trying to explain away the timeline, but
Doug, I have a button just meant for you. Derek, quote. What's your favorite quote?
So I already mentioned mine, but it's Kyle Reese explaining to Linda Hamilton the gravity of the situation.
Yeah, right when they're in the car and the
Terminator can't be bargained with, can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel remorse, pity, fear. It won't stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the same thing.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
That's definitely my favorite too. Derek, what about best scene for you?
Best scene. Well, I think for me the most gripping moment is when you think they finally killed the Terminator and he stumbles out of that burning wreckage.
Yeah,
and then emerges with the full metal skeleton.
Yeah.
To me, that's it. And then the chase that ensues.
Yeah. Moron, what about yours?
it's absolutely the police station.
Yeah, those big shootout.
Yeah,
stuff.
because they're throwing everything that you would think is advanced for 1984. All the cops, the protectors, and they can just do nothing.
Yeah. You know what? I'm actually going to go with that same thing. That the shootout is just, it's such an iconic scene. They even brought it back for the second one when Sarah's in the, asylum. They're like, here, this is photos from the first shootout, and then all of a sudden how he's back.
This was taken 5 hours ago.
yeah, it's awesome. Doug, what about favorite character?
Favorite character, Michael Biehn.
Yeah. Derek?
Also the same.
Yeah.
I think he's the soldier, lays down his life, makes the ultimate sacrifice. He's got the best line in the movie.
Yeah, I'm actually, as much as I loved Arnold in this one, I mean, he gets even better in the second one, becomes the good guy, but I think he's very underrated in this movie. Everybody talks about Arnold. I mean, clearly Arnold is literally on the poster.
Yeah.
But I feel like they don't talk about Michael Bihn's performance in this movie enough.
Yeah, he kind of gets lost in Arnold's shadow, but I think he carried it.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Hey, everyone, if you're enjoying this podcast, please make sure to follow us on your preferred podcast apps, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and we're also on YouTube. We really appreciate it if you could leave us a review and give us a 5-star rating. If you particularly enjoyed an episode, feel free to share it with a friend or a moron like Doug.
You don't have to take that.
Oh, he's going to take it and like it. All right, let's wrap things up. All right, Doug, let's start with you. You want to give your final thoughts and score on the movie?
Okay, my final thoughts on this movie. This movie was, I mean, that's got something to do with, I guess, my age when I watched it. When it just hit everything you would have wanted. I mean, you get the fear aspect of it, the sci-fi aspect of it, and just the whole thing about humanity fighting to survive. It's just everything's there. Mm-hmm. Now T2, I mean, they turned it up to 11.
Yeah.
And you know, if you've heard our earlier podcast, you know, we reviewed T2 first, but T2, you can't compare the two, but this movie was definitely the foundation. So I'm going to say it's not perfect, but I'm going to give it a 4.75.
4.75? All right. Derek, final thoughts and score?
So I love Terminator 1 and 2. I think I gave T2 a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, we all did.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
T1 does not compare with that. It is very high.
Yeah.
I will not give T1 a full 5, even though this movie is fantastic on so many levels. Mm-hmm. I won't give it a 5 for two reasons. Number one is because T2 just so far surpasses it in terms of, I mean, in everything, in the acting, in the story, in the special effects, and just emotionally. I think T2 hits you emotionally in a level that T1 doesn't. So there's that reason. And then secondly, I don't think some of the special effects holds up very well. And so I'm going to demote it for that, particularly the scene in the room where he's cutting his flesh away and we see that it's animatronic. I mean, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
It's very, it does jar you, and to me, it takes you out of the movie. And then the last scene, you know that's stop motion. It's very herky-jerky.
Yeah.
And to me, that part doesn't hold up well. So T1 has a problem in that it's just so far ahead of its time.
Right.
It has the disservice of being made at a time when the technology severely limited it. Mm-hmm. If they made it today, different story. Or, if they made it in 1991 when T2 was made, different story. However, love this movie. To me, what's even more special about this movie is the philosophical underpinnings of the movie, which make it endlessly debatable. So I was writing down some of the themes that I really love about the movie. Man versus machine.
Yeah.
I love that storyline. Then this is the ultimate man versus machine. Yep. The danger of technology, or AI, which this movie is still relevant today, especially with
even more so.
Yeah, even more so. I mean, people make jokes today about AI, and what do they call it? They call it Skynet.
Yeah.
This thing has ingrained itself into the modern psyche. Predestination versus free will is a huge concept in this movie. How much freedom do we have? Like, is the future set? Do our choices actually have meaning? Yeah. That's a really deep theme in the movie. I think we need to credit James Cameron for single-handedly making the strong female lead.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Because Linda Hamilton is like the blueprint of the strong female lead. In the first movie, she's terrified. Mm-hmm. She has to have Michael Biehn to survive. But in the second movie, she's a completely different creature altogether.
Well, and there wasn't many others. I mean, what?
The only other one is Sigourney Weaver, which he doesn't create, but he perfects it in Aliens. Yeah. So I think that's a huge thing. Mm-hmm. You got to give him credit for that. Yeah. And today, every action movie has got to have a boss babe in it.
Yeah.
But this is where it starts, and this is the blueprint. And I think when they get away from this blueprint where, hey, she had to learn how to be this.
Yeah. She had to go through a lot.
And then, of course, we talked about creation versus destruction being a huge theme. Like the Terminator is there just to destroy life, but humanity is trying to survive. And Sarah Connor's superpower isn't that she's some boss babe in this movie. It's that she can have a child.
Yeah.
And
She creates the future leader that saves the human race.
Exactly. So there's so many themes, and it's so deep, and that's what makes this so beloved and timeless. Anyway, I got off track there, but
No.
I'll say that for me, I'm going to go with that same score, Doug, 4.75. Only demoting it for the fact that Terminator 2 is better.
Yeah.
Does what this movie does only better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the special effects, to me, take you out of it just for a couple of scenes there.
I mean, just talk about how Arnold can walk through almost the entire movie with part of his flesh gone, and it looks great.
Yeah. So I really do love this movie, but like you guys, I can't give it a perfect score because, like you said, T2 was always my favorite. I would go back and watch one. 1 out of 10 times I would watch T2. It's such a. This movie is so amazing. I feel like he created like a new, would you say a new genre?
Oh yeah.
That inspired so much for the next, 40 years.
Yeah.
And it's such an amazing movie. And see, I don't think I don't have an issue. Yes, the stop motion at the end, when you see the Terminator, the endoskeleton walking through the factory, is a little rough. But actually, if you watch it on the 4K, they cleaned it up a little bit.
I was going to say, did they change it?
It does. They didn't necessarily change anything. It just looks a little smoother. That is a little bit rough there, but I love every bit of it. I love all the animatronics. The head, that was actually Arnold's arms that was putting the sunglasses on him every time they showed the head. And I mean, I love every bit of that. And I think that kind of stuff right there, for me personally, actually pulls me in even further into these old movies. Because, you guys know this. Everything today is CG. They wouldn't build anything. They don't build anything practical anymore. If they do, it's a $500 million movie now. And, everything's just CG. But I just think
$1 billion is going to become the new budget in Hollywood.
So I really love this movie, but can't give it a perfect score. So I'm gonna kind of break it a little bit and give it a 4.9. It's almost perfect for me,
Right there.
but it's not T2 perfect.
Hated it.
So pretty much it came to a 4.8.
There you go.
Which is pretty amazing. Better than what IMDb gives it, I guess. All right, you guys got anything else? Just wrap it up. All right. That's all for today's episode, folks. We hope you enjoyed our time travel to the past in the world of 1984's The Terminator. Join us next time on Video Rental as we tackle another classic movie. Until then, stay cinematic and remember, I'll be back.